Let's see.
Did you have vacation? No. We went on vacation. It's just skipping.
Transportation. Good evening and welcome to the City of Sunbury's Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. It's June 27th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. Would you please join me in a moment of silent prayer and a pledge of allegiance? Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mayor St. John.
Here.
Mr. Gokenauer. Here. Mrs. Cooper.
Here.
Mr. Lawrence.
Here.
Mr. Ryba.
Here.
And Mrs. Miller.
Here.
We're going to switch around the agenda just slightly. We're going to open up with the visitors section, and I think the majority of our visitors are here for the same purpose, and that's to talk about trails and connectivity and all that good stuff. Is there anybody that would like to speak that is not part of the presentation later? Okay, great. All right. We had a meeting was it last month, Steve? 2 months ago?
Yeah, I think we met in May. My packet's short, but yes.
Okay. All right, I'm trying to pull it up. One moment. We had a meeting on May 23rd, I believe. So that was about 4 weeks ago. Would anybody that was in attendance like to make a motion for approval?
I'll move to approve.
We have a motion by Rick Ryba.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lawrence. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Gokenauer.
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper.
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence.
Yes.
Mr. Ryba.
Yes.
Mrs. Miller.
Yes.
And Mayor St. John.
Yes. All right. We are on to the zoning report. Mr. Piles.
Very quickly, you were provided my report in your packet and in the OneDrive. In front of you, I kind of tried to do a little different present numerical graph on the new building construction permits, putting the data table in there and eliminating the totals. Pretty much business as normal. I've got a good head start on July. Friday, we released 8 more building permits. So they were all in the Rolling Hills, Rockford's building permits. So they've got okay to start on 8 more homes. And I'll entertain any questions you might have.
Questions for Mr. Piles? All right, Steve, thank you very much. Welcome. Is there any discussion or new business that you'd like to discuss? All right. Our next meeting is July 25th, 2022. Any objections to that? All right, and we are on to the commission review and discussion. Stakeholder workshop for the City of Sunbury Trail Access and Connectivity Study. As part of this MORPC study, the city is seeking stakeholder input regarding potential opportunities to fill gaps in the Ohio to Erie Trail and better connect the City of Sunbury to it. So how would you anticipate the process going this evening?
I guess I'll just do a quick kick, which is kind of refreshing. The Planning and Zoning Commission is talking planning tonight. You don't get that many opportunities. You're more in zoning mode. A number of months ago, MORPC issued a grant opportunity for technical assistance. I took advantage of that to kind of update our current state map we've had a number of new subdivisions. They're going to be doing a future state map for us based upon input and looking at things, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, kind of a strategic planning approach to it. And I will introduce Jordan and Jonathan. Come on up to the dais and I will get your presentation ready to roll. And from beginning. Come on, there we go.
Oh, sorry. Point in.
Yeah, when you, or just say next slide when you want another slide or something.
All right, so thank you all for being here to talk about the trail access and connectivity. Before we get into a little bit of the nitty gritty, we're just going to sort of go through the Morrissey staff that's working on it and what stakeholder committee is going to look like. So, just remember the next one. Just intro. So CPOS obviously has been working with the city of Sunbury, as well as you guys here today. I'm Jonathan Miller, I'm senior planner with the community development team at Morrissey. Jordan Petrov is a programming intern as well, who's been fantastic leading a lot of us too. The stakeholder group ultimately is going to contain input from the public health district, regional planning commission. Scott Sagers was not able to be here today.
Hey, I see him right there. Look at that.
Preservation parks and local school districts. You can go on the next one. So quick background and technical information about the program. Morris's Technical Assistance Program is a program that came out of the Insight 2050 initiative that focuses on providing assistance to Morris's member communities. Ultimate goal there is to assist in advancing the goals that are identified in the Metropolitan Transportation Plan, or as we affectionately call it, the MTP. Each year, the applications for assistance are reviewed and evaluated, and each project is generally completed in a 6 to 9 month time frame. Specific to Sunbury, we are working to identify strategies to fill gaps in the Ohio Erie Trail and generally just improve access to the Ohio Erie Trail for the community at large, for pedestrians and cyclists. So, up until now, we've been looking at some of the existing conditions, points of interest, crash histories, future planning projects to help inform potential alternatives. Using the information that we're going to gain from this meeting, we're going to conduct a site visit in the next week or two to further investigate any potential alternatives that we identified today. That information will be presented at another workshop meeting that we're going to hold on July 11th. The goal then is to have a working draft to all of you by July 18th of the alternatives, with the final version completed on July 25th. Following that is going to be a draft of the implementation plan on August 15th, and the final version of that we are hoping to get to by August 29th. Central Ohio Greenways, or COG, developed a vision in 2016 of a world-class network of trails easily accessible to every central Ohio. Part of realizing this vision is to increase the trails and trail usage for transportation and recreation. Currently, there are 2 main gaps in the Ohio Erie Trail in or near Sunbury, which can inhibit trail usage. One of those is from South Vernon Street to East Church Street, downtown, and the other one from Walnut, continuing northeast to Hartford Road, just outside the boundaries. So on the next one. From a greater community connectivity standpoint, there are several points of interest in the city of Sunbury that greatly benefit from easy to navigate and or direct connections to the Ohio Erie Trail. Primarily, this means school buildings and the library. This map, you can see, well, does need updated. It does not include correct labels for the new school complex north on Miller Drive. So we have to update those just in case everyone's going to point that out. And additionally, we would like to find good alternatives as we're looking through this, trying to tie into economic hubs in Sunbury, which would include Kroger Plaza and Town Square. The existing facilities in Sunbury is fairly limited. There are 2 multi-use paths toward the south that provide direct connections to the Sunbury Meadows residents. And the Fallen Heroes Memorial Trail, which has been a work in progress, fantastic. We'll also help tie the library into the trail network and provide some northern mobility for the residents of Sunbury Meadows. However, the other existing multi-use paths on the west side of State Route 3 are limited to internal connections within the developments that don't really provide much in terms of external connectivity. Other factors to consider include looking at points with which to actually access the trails, taking into consideration bike and pedestrian projects that have been identified in the Metropolitan Transportation Plan. That latest iteration of the MTP, which gets updated every 4 years, we're currently in the process of doing that now, includes an extension of Wilson Road to Cheshire and an extension of Four Winds to South 3 Beacon K. That's on the west end, actually. And last but not least, a new interchange of 71 and the related Sunbury Parkway project. There are some other projects like the extension of Cheshire past Donegan and some just existing roadway improvements in general. The existing access points to the trail are primarily located on existing parts of the Ohio River Trail, but not necessarily where the termini are. They're more like located in the middle of those segments. The proposed access locations that are identified in there are in areas where the completed trail would be. So we're looking at what a potential trail network that ties into the existing points of interest to the Ohio River Trail would look like. And there are 4 main barriers to that, 2 of which being fairly major. I-71 provides a pretty substantial barrier at the juncture, especially for Sunbury parcels west of 71. And for anyone wanting to get to Sunbury that are over in that direction. The proposed interchange in Sunbury Parkway does provide an opportunity to include a multi-use trail during the construction of that. So slightly less of a major thing looking forward into the future. The Hoover Nature Preserve also creates a barrier. Any trail crossing in that area is going to have to include a pedestrian bridge, which can be expensive, or otherwise utilize the existing roadway networks. That said, Sunbury Parkway, when that's built, should, if we plan for it, can include a pathway there during construction of that as well, which should negate some of the expenses that come along with that. The 2 major barriers that are going to be problematic, not surprisingly so, are State Route 3 and State Route 37. State Route 3 is a major divided thoroughfare between the east and west parts of Sunbury. All households on the west side of State Route 3 would have to cross State Route 3 to get to the Ohio River Trail, which means crossing at 37 or Mill Drive. Star 37, on the other hand, provides a big barrier for residents on the north side or even trying to get to or from the new school complex on the north end. As an aside, not shown data here, it will be in the final report. All of these intersections, State Route 37 Miller Drive, State Route 37 State Route 3, and State Route 3 at Miller Drive, those are all sites where there were pedestrian and cyclist crashes between 2017 and 2021. Additionally, there was a fatal pedestrian crash at Hawthorne in State Route 37 that I'm sure you're aware of. And while the report indicates that the pedestrian signal was not being properly used at the time, it still very much highlights the need for safer routes. So with that, some of the major opportunities to improve connections to the Ohio River Trail includes focusing efforts on future Sunbury Parkway, routes along Cheshire and Gilmere Road, and including multi-use path amenities on any extension of Wilson Road, and improving providing pedestrian facilities along State Route 37, especially crossings at State Route 3. And some other factors to keep in mind when we are considering either specific multi-use path alternatives, connections, or even just the need for more active transportation connections are included here. Sunbury Parkway is currently being planned for, so it should be expected to be followed through at some point. I know funding is still in progress. Having plans at this location will help ODOT take those lines into consideration, meaning an opportunity to have ODOT help foot the bill, which is always a good thing. The new school complex creates an increased importance for providing routes across State Route 37 as well. Not included in these maps are alignments from the 3 newer /plant developments. The Miller's Cove provides only internal connections and press ponds, and includes a sidewalk connection to a neighboring development. So in terms of providing external connectivity to get to the Ohio River Trail, it's a little bit lacking. Finally, Sunbury has been active in developing out the Ohio Fallen Heroes Memorial Trail, which will complete some north-south mobility. And as for gaps in the Ohio Erie Trail right away acquisition activity has been underway for several years. And Sunbury has been active in updating the zoning resolution, which allows for the ability to require multi-use paths in all new developments. So any vacant lands that are available right now, we will be able to identify routes through those, and then you can use that to leverage the construction of those pathways and improving those any development that would occur on those properties. Most importantly, though, the infill development, as I'm sure you all have heard, is anticipated to bring some pretty significant changes, probably additional traffic. So alternative transportation options for residents to get to the downtown area will go a long way to ensure a high quality of life. So here's where we get to relatively fun part, hopefully. We brought some large scale maps for everyone to look at and provide comments on. We're going to ask everyone sort of move around a little bit, take a look at the maps, provide some comments on it. Main things we want to look at here are the feasibility of some of the routes that we talked about here. I'm going to double back on the slides so you can see what those are. So yeah, you can write down and draw on the maps where there might be some feasibility issues. That's stuff that we're going to want to know. You guys are the experts in the community, so you will know firsthand whether these things are feasible, not feasible, things we can look at more in depth. Skip over if it's, a fledgling attempt. We also want to look at what critical barriers are. So if you know or see any on the maps or any places that might make creating connections inordinately difficult, you can write draw those too. And then be sure to include any access points or connections that you think are valuable as well. And definitely include any comments or suggestions on things we should be looking at during a site visit in the next week or two. So we'll let this continue on till no later than 8. So we can save some time for some recaps and discussion on what comes out of that. We're going to pull that table up over here, and then we can put some maps up there for you guys. Should be good.
I should get a bike.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm funny. That's right. Maybe it's like friends, you want yeah.
Does he not know that we move things along?
We're shouldn't be done by stuff. Let's go check out some.
Sure has the town hall emblem.
I know, I love it. Can you get it?
That was no.
Let's find out.
I had to pay for it. Who made it? The village, I had to pay for it.
Steve, are we okay to go?
You know where the symbol for those kinds of that's Kathy. Kathy Belgium. We want to get shirts for council, but we can't find an image we like, so. You can come to council and request it.
We could open up.
God forbid they spend $1 on something. We don't even get a treat. We get nothing. We don't even get like nothing. A turkey, nothing. We back in the day, me and Gretchen was on Zoom, at least I get turkey.
You're like, hey, Jonathan. Hey, Jonathan. You want us to open up space here for another map?
Our Christmas exchange.
Here?
Steve.
Oh, okay. There is one down there. Okay.
No problem.
Okay.
We don't have to mess around.
One thing I noticed, in the new developments, there's also rolling. That's it's kind of like racing here in rolling hills. It's down here. You may have lumped them together. Actually, it's in green on that map. Rolling hills, yeah. Oh yeah, my little. Yeah, there you go. A little crude drawing there.
Yeah.
Who's where? And they do have an internal, there is an internal path that should have been picked up that eventually winds over. It kind of comes around and it goes through here. There is a pathway that you want to try to pick up off of an aerial. Well, if you got a recent aerial map, you'll see it because they cleared the They cleared the trees. What's that? Okay. If not, they're on those plans that I sent. So.
Did we have any?
Sure, yeah. I'll check. I gotta have my little list of follow-ups, so. Let's see if I can find it. Gathered around the TV.
What's that?
They're on the TV.
Everybody's over there taking notes, trying to keep track of it.
This is pretty expensive.
So yeah, that's huge. There's a couple of those like, Stakeholder, here's where the big chunk, the building is a big chunk of these. Not really relevant. It was why 600, having the right one of these, we did take that trees. This is more down here for me. Right at the end of that's how we
Yeah, if you go back.
One of the things that this.
Oh, yeah, I live beside the San Diego job going on right now. My air conditioner,
And this mother would take she hasn't bitten yet. Yep, and then it's. There's more, that might be a.
big green, big green. Yeah.
That would be. This is.
I mean, they're already put back. You go over the bridge.
I want you to break it.
I think they're.
Yeah, the signs. So really, just.
There's a lot
There's a lot of there.
You want to talk about quick and easy access to different websites. I think that's what they got.
I mean, it's still where.
This is where this is but this.
From, Old Free. Yeah. Right here.
Unless you get. To do those pedestrians.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Sunbury.
Oh, sorry, this is the average. No, actually, that's that.
Yeah, this is high, this is high.
Way more revenue.
Yeah, so they run over.
And then that's all last night.
You mean like a slow. So why?
Yeah.
So where county line road is, the one that's not your. That's.
You basically walk until well, they left a little bit of battle for essentially happened, but it's not to be somewhere easy. But this is
Just with whatever sort of change.
There is property now, not like further down in the library.
You call this. Much less vertical.
So they're trying to.
Their concept. You got past big concept.
That goes past this used to be a passive park. You know?
This is all eventually you can.
Big boulders.
If you go like here, this is really.
Right, because this is
You were saying, here, having a hike trail along that
That's the one I take every
same
day.
concept here. I'm actually making.
This is the church is on here. Right here.
Over here is right here. Right, this side of the street. So Father across the street from the city, right, you're right now.
Or the.
It's,
I think it's right here, and then there's a road.
It's address.
blue sky.
Yeah, and,
So I think it's.
yeah, because. Right there, between Galena and Sunbury, there's a great crossing. If you're going to build.
Well, we would teach or something.
I don't know, show you guys. Post office.
That'd be a great way to share, you know, just on very old.
Most of it's on the
Because of the church there and there, did you know that is, yeah. I wasn't able to go under more over.
Well, but there's a lot of. Over here. Especially.
Yeah.
pretty serious.
And then I was thinking, you only have small here, one owner on each side of the house set up. It versus some of the other spaces.
There's not enough. I think the more central is like. Will allow.
When we're,
Yeah, so this is.
there are a lot of, this is pretty heavy.
When it's Thursday night, let's go for a bike ride.
You're buying that.
Yeah, right.
If you have somewhere.
To go all the way.
Lakers.
Well, that's, I mean, it's.
Yeah, that's for the water.
This is the traffic.
Yeah,
so you can see signs.
Personal insurance. Yep.
Yeah, over here.
So dangerous. So narrow, see where. On Main Street, just when you come in past the point, right? So where.
Is this.
Right before.
She gets some sort of
Place that.
This is an existing sidewalk.
Walking. Path.
So then they have.
$15,000 in 2002.
How much, you
I don't know.
good to know where that's at. It's not nowhere now. But it was now. I think so. Now, 5 or 6 of
Then initially the railroad.
So we got.
And it would be like.
There's a trail along the Latangers.
And subdivision.
They similar.
With somebody had Cleveland.
Actually, downtown. Okay, this is a 352. 161.
Just front.
And there's a trail along.
Yeah,
exactly.
the opposite.
Now they have.
Yeah. Professor.
Here, it's like across the creek.
The time when they were doing that.
Yeah.
Which is higher traffic.
Right, yeah, this is like here, so.
covers was falling apart on them. But unfortunately, they were all magnetized. So every time I tried to go to the library, I was like, it's like, it's me, you're in the hands. And they go, okay. It's not that cool to walk around with that. It's the dust on them.
Just a that's 5 pointers. Cheshire Road. And there were houses. Couple of houses.
I know, I don't know how they're done with the
This last
Except in the morning. Contract. Yeah, they we talked to them, we get maintenance here. Yeah, we're not rushing those sites in a while. Oh, yes,
We have to know where we're going at all times. Yeah, she's like.
Yeah, we have to. I've never seen, I've never seen orange dogs. Right. They come here. Like right now, it's it doesn't come across the
This used to be, this one used to be.
This is So.
Is there like two?
I'll go down
That's all. Yeah, it would have to be really, really more.
I definitely heard a conversation I think in the school 6 feet one. So it's not that there's an existing roadway that you're passing to. You're just saying it's important to get this connection.
Well, yes. There are a little bit of line first that they say that's probably some other. It would be eligible. Yeah. I know well, yeah. Well, they did that. I think in early 60s. Yeah, there's a replacement. They throw it in. Sometimes I multi-family, two pieces that. You don't know if they're geographic. We were talking about
Yeah, it's a car.
Once you figure it out, it makes sense. Like where the driving, it's not a learning curve. Having roundabout, right?
If you're the ones who have all these lines.
It's not just a sidewalk. Come up to kind Jeez. Yeah, they're trying to flag central. Interesting to see if they ever come out with possible electric. Down speedway years ago.
I don't see consistent. I know, actually, parks that I've been in. Easier. I don't see any evidence that they require all that stuff. A couple times a week, somebody pulls up there and so I don't think it's required. There is no part of but there is part, part of here. That's interesting. Have to explain it to the company. They have a school there. Yeah, sure. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. That's a great idea.
Yeah, that's good. That's our.
That's just right there. I just want to look at the stories. I wonder how. Scenario with
And that was from stepping into a dish right. Although it's trying to you have to have it for us as it is. I mean, there was somebody it's 90 degrees. Wow.
Crossing here.
Well, better than.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It needs to be. Land or something in this area. Swapping that with a very nearby business, swapping land with this line up trail.
Because I think some of the, at least one business or maybe more own some of the property in there.
It's
Great.
They bought it.
This is the part where it's right
In fact, I grew up here, they all tried to get my father to buy this right
Road
here.
and trail.
And,
So that we include both them.
it was
Yeah, yeah, I mean.
too much money for nothing. So they tried to-
I guess, well, you're, when you are like.
Does this go over time anymore?
Bridge. Like all these driving systems and 12-foot, but the bridge across.
There might be a way partner that we can do some of our lands.
Do you remember the bridge specs? One of them, we have multi-use path and pedestrian walkway. Sunbury Parkway, sorry, over 7 points.
We've got 10-footer rules on
10-footer both sides is what I.
because it was, last time we met, it was 10-footer, 5-footer.
Well, depends on how.
Yeah.
Because this is the 5-footer is a.
It's just telling you not to-
Sidewalk.
That was where I went on.
Yeah.
This is different. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
You know, two things that step up there is
yeah, so this is a beautiful school. Bottom Street.
Yeah.
And this is the,
that's a new role.
now middle school. And then. That might be 50 something, but.
Oh, here you go.
Mini trail.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, but see, this trail goes right now. I'm sure it's. That's a kitchen plan. That's one.
Yeah, I see.
Right away after the mission.
Where's these kids coming from? When you're saying courts.
Yeah.
Well, because they can access it. There's ball fields behind Beaver.
Sometimes all this walk also. Really close to the.
Yes, right.
You go to building
Yeah.
and construction inspection.
And I'm pretty sure it's.
There's cars parked on the side of the road.
Just like a visual, like, pull over and watch it.
The Galena side of Hoover, is, it's really nice to kayak, but also kayak that from here, you gotta carry the kayak. I mean, a good distance. Yeah, about anywhere, unless you go down to like Twin Bridges or toward Harlem. Then there's a, we just did that today, it's over by where they, a couple years ago, they developed, they redeveloped the whole boat launch and made it really nice. But the Galena side, Hoover's on kayaker, friendly access wise.
Taking paths around.
And then we want to get the creation.
But like Joe said, you can't ride around in here, but
It fluctuates. I mean, a lot.
it can be really high, you don't wanna be out there, or it's really low and you won't go out there.
Yeah. The other thing that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about. That's problematic.
You gotta walk all the way down to the stairs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're big, they're not really.
Line is there.
Yeah.
I mean.
What's that?
I'm not saying.
We have a kayak, I mean, another, one scary short.
Anytime somebody says I'm scared, check this is. Is it?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
It is real special.
I swear that I know it's actually nice. Gravel trails. We ever tried to put it and it's like serious and what I want to rain, matrix,
No, yeah, sorry.
I think the city and the preservation parks should collaborate and do some of this kind of, and even the new crossing bridge. But has a big part of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of I said, did we have?
How do we wrap up as a meeting?
I'll still cover recap the remaining time.
I'm here.
Closer to birthday. Can throw ourselves a party. 5 days before it was.
All right, thank you guys very much. There's a lot of valuable information we're able to use report and when we come out for the site visit. So just to recap the remaining timeline. Today's June 27th. We're going to try and do the site visit sometime between now and tomorrow morning. And July 11th when we have the next workshop. So we can use the information we got here, take that into account while we're out walking around, do the site visit part of it. We can fold that into updates to any kind of alternatives analysis that we'll be able to present then. We'll have the final version of that, the alternatives analysis part, hopefully by July 25th, followed by the implementation part of it. And we're going to go to the next one. So, site visit, the date is still to be determined. We had sent out a Google poll to stakeholders. Would any of you like us to send the link to that as well, if you feel so inclined to join us?
Steve, will you be there?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, I'll forward it again to Steve and then you can forward it out to you guys. More than merrier. So yeah, hopefully, like I said, we're gonna try and do that between now and July 11th. Probably gonna end up being the next. So I think that's about it. Yep. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to send me a Jordan an email. Happy to answer it. Thank you guys very much for your participation today.
Thank you. I want to say thanks to everybody who contributed. Planning members, I very much appreciate it. MORPC, Regional Planning Commission, the Health District, Preservation Parks, CT Consultants. We had an attorney here tonight. I want to say I heard you, Vic, weighing in. We appreciate that. No, but Steve, thanks for helping coordinate this. And also just thanks for taking the ball and running with it. We very much appreciate it.
I was really joyed to see the planning commission planning tonight, and it seemed like you were having fun doing it, so.
Yeah.
At least got your brains running more than setbacks and all that other zoning stuff, so.
Good deal. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right. I think we're done with business and we're looking for a motion of some sort. We've got a motion by Joe Gokenhour to adjourn. Second. Second by Mr. Rick Ryba. Discussion? Roll call?
Let's see, starting with Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence. Yes. Mr. Ryba,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
and Mr. Gokenhour.
Yes.
You are adjourned. Welcome.
How Terry, I'm so happy now.
Oh, it was a big one, yeah.
I like that. It was a little easy reading this time around.
Next one's gonna be a little thicker. Kettner Crossing's coming in, which is the foreman piece.
Oh.